And we should be live any moment, and there we go. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chris, and this is my channel, Barn on 11970. And as always, I'd like to thank everybody for taking the time to listen to what I have to say. And it is the 21st of July, 2017, 12:27 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I want to talk about something that I've really been concentrating on. And if you're new to my channel, you know, some of the stuff I talk about, I mean, the way I describe it is it's like being in different positions of school classes. If you're in kindergarten, you're not going to understand physics. So it all has to come to you at the right time. So the one thing I could recommend to anybody is if some of the things I talk about seem strange or you don't understand them or what I like to call understand them, it just means you may not be ready for them. The problem is we all try and rush things. And I even tried to do that, and everything comes to you at the right moment. So if you are listening to this video while it's happening live, days or weeks later, or even years later, and you're here for the positive intention, you're here to try and find something about yourself, and you've been drawn here, it happened at the right moment. So keep that in mind. So we're all going to be at different levels. It doesn't make anybody better or worse. It just means you're at a different level of experience. So keep that in mind. Because some of the things I talk about are going to seem very strange to people who may be newer to this, just like I would have been if I was introduced to this stuff years ago. I've been slowly transforming since basically 2011. And I went from this fear-based, paranoid, fear-mongering, what I like to call fear porn, into getting closer and closer to each step being more enlightened. And I could definitely see the transformation of the people that come here. And I want to share something I had with you, because the more I understand, the more I look into myself, the more I concentrate and starting to do meditation and things like that, the more understanding I'm starting to receive, and I want to pass that along. It all has to do with karma, and we all experience karma, and the best kind of karma is always going to be positive. So when it comes to being able to change your life, you have to first, like Yoda once said, you have to unlearn what you have learned. And I've realized, or because you need realize to realize, that those who like this world where you could profit, where you could be a quote-unquote leader, where you could have quote-unquote power, there are plenty of people that know information that they can utilize to their own advantage, because like I've said in many videos, free will means you can basically do whatever you want, but then again, so can someone else. So if somebody can convince you, scare you, trick you, bribe you into going into a certain direction, you ultimately are making your own choice to do it, but it could serve somebody else's purpose. And that's why we spend so much time giving our energy to others when it seems like they're taking it. It is always our choice, which means once you get it, you can change it. Because sometimes we do things on a subconscious level that we're not aware of. But once you're aware of it, now it becomes your responsibility. And I think that's one of the biggest fears that people have. And that's why they don't really try and heal and find the better part of their life, because then they have to realize that they are responsible for what they do. And I'll give you a prime example of something that is going to sound a little extreme, but we'll get the point across, because people say I do a good job of kind of simplifying things and putting it in a perspective where you could visualize it. So I want you to visualize a group of kids. Let's say they're 10 years old, somewhere in their early days where they're playing outside and hanging out with their friends, just having fun outside on a nice warm summer day. And you're walking through a woods that you always hang out with. There's a bicycle path. You hang out there all the time with your friends. And as you're going through this path, all of a sudden you look up at one of the trees and you see there's a hornet's nest. Now, the hornets are just flying around the hornet's nest. They're not bothering you. They're just living their lives just like you're living your life. And your friends dare you to hit it with a stick. And maybe peer pressure, maybe you think it's cool, maybe you want to fit in, I don't know. But let's say you decide that you're going to do this and you take a stick and you hit that hornet's nest. Now, due to your own actions, what do you think is going to happen when you hit that hornet's nest? Now, they will probably all come out and start stinging you. Now, what would happen, let's say, for example, that particular child was, unbeknownst to them, allergic to bee stings and hornet stings and wasp stings. And they hit that nest, all the hornets come out and sting him, and he dies. Now, let me ask you this. Were the hornets evil? Did they do it to specifically hurt you? Did they do it out of nothing better to do with their free time, and they just decided as a consciousness, say, I'm going to go sting that young boy because it will be fun? No, it was a response to what the boy initiated. Now, the boy, or you could use a girl, it's fine, it could be either way. Do you think their intention was to have that happen? Of course not. But what we all do is we don't see beyond what we're doing at the moment. So we tend to not focus on the consequences of our actions and what reactions will come from them. So by the very nature of the child going and initiating a negative situation, it created a new path that created a consequence. So in other words, we're always shifting to different realities. We're shifting to whatever choice we make is a different path we take. Just think of it like a different road. You could be traveling down one road and then all of a sudden you decide, you know what, I'm going to go in a different direction. Well, if you go in a different direction, different things are going to happen. So if you think about that in your life, every time we make a choice, every time we make a decision, it's like veering off a road that we were traveling on. So there's going to be new scenery, there's going to be new situations, there's going to be new encounters. But this world teaches you to not be responsible for what you do, how it's somebody else's fault. And just think the parents of that child. Maybe that child was a very good child. Maybe he or she was an honor student. And now their child is dead. And they find out it was from bee stings. And of course, they don't tell the true story of what happened. You know how kids will make up, when they do something bad, they'll make up a story. And they could basically say, oh, we were just going through the woods, then all of a sudden these hornets came out and stung us. And they killed poor whatever child. Well, those parents are going to hate those wasps. They'll probably want to go to that nest and burn it alive and destroy it. But those hornets or wasps or whatever, bees or whatever, they didn't intentionally do anything. They were responding to your negativity, to the child's negativity. Now, negativity is something we pay attention to because it is a signal. It's a way to teach us things. But if we focus on it too much, it can change our life. And again, like I said earlier, once you understand that you can change anything once you realize it, well, nothing in your life has to be the way it is unless you decide to not act upon it. In other words, if you are in a room with a door and it starts filling up with water, well, if you open the door and leave, you get out of the situation. But if you sit there and say, oh, there's nothing I can do, woe is me, well, what do you think is going to happen? So, in my opinion, and from what I've searched in myself, and this is why I had to make this video right now, because it seems very important to me, and hopefully people will be able to hear me, because as usual, YouTube loves to mess with my live feeds, that there are corporations and governments and people that are very wealthy who profit off of our ignorance, our naivety, our trust, our fear, our hatred, our jealousy, our greed, our vanity. and use it to their advantage so they can get material things that bring them joy. Because people seem to think that material things bring you joy when they're doing something to fill a hole in you. That's why if you turn to drugs, or you eat too much, or maybe you're addicted to sex or something, that it's really just a hole inside you of something that you need to figure out, and you're just replacing it with things or activities. And again, once you understand that situation, you can change it. So here's the thing that I've come to understand and realize, because like I say all the time, you need realize to realize, is there are plenty of people that put out misinformation. Now, anything can be your truth if you accept it. In other words, if you create a belief system around something. It's like, think of yourself as a director of a movie. And let's say you're the sole financier of the movie. You have your own money, you have your own equipment, you are creating and writing your movie. Now, somebody comes along, let's say you're making a horror movie. That's what you want to make your movie about. And somebody comes along and says, here, I think this comedic line would go great in your horror movie. Well, you can either accept it and place it in, which means that person now will influence what you're doing, or you could say, thank you for that, but I don't think that's going to fit in my movie. It's my movie after all. They may say, here, what if I give you $1 million? Will you put that in? You might think to do it, but again, it's your responsibility. What if they threaten you and say, if you don't do it, we're going to hurt you? Well, again, you're making a conscious decision. So everything in your life is your choice, but that doesn't mean there aren't people who will flood you with fear and doubt and negativity and work on your insecurities to benefit from you not taking responsibility for what you choose to do, what you choose not to do, and the consequences that we don't see that our actions can take, because sometimes what we do can affect somebody days, weeks, months, years, decades down the road. There is no getting off scot-free when it comes to karma. And since the universe is created by electricity, it's light, and magnetism is what holds it all together, and consciousness, just like everything, is a living being, because everything is made from the very one source that we all come from. It's just experiencing itself in infinite ways. That you can change anything in your life. But it does require work. It does require effort. It may not have to be, but maybe we need to go through that to teach us true strength, to teach us power, to take baby steps. Because when you're a baby, you first have to crawl before you can run. Just imagine, what do you think would happen if a newborn baby, before it ever crawled, it went from laying in bed helpless, needing a parent to rock it and lift it and turn it, to all of a sudden getting up and trying to run? What do you think would happen to that baby's legs? Because they weren't formed yet. They're not formed properly to handle that. He'd probably, or she would probably, shatter her legs and never be able to walk again. So we have to go in baby steps. But I think in this day and age of technology, of everything speeding up, we feel that our transitions have to be like that. And maybe you can't learn something if things go quickly. How much do you think you could learn if you went from kindergarten to college in the span of 1 week? That's too fast. Our brains would not be able to fathom all of that information. But yet technology teaches us that everything should be quick. We are not the computer that you're listening to this on. At least not yet. We have the capability, but it's like having technology. You have an idea for something that we just don't have the technology to invent yet. Don't rush it. What's coming to you is coming to you because you're at the point where you need to hear it. And there are some people that will resist it. And those are the people that try and be negative. The ones that thumb down videos or say hateful things or rude things. They're still listening. They're just at the denial stage. It's like losing a loved one. And at first you're denying it. It's like, it can't happen. It couldn't have happened. Is that shock? But they're still listening, because if they keep coming back, then maybe there's something drawing them here, and they're just not trusting themselves because we've been conditioned to be a certain way. But again, once you reveal the trick, once you understand and understand what's going on, you have the power to change everything. So this is one of the things that I want to recommend to you, because why are we so negative? Well, because we have negative things happening all around us. Why are we so fearful? Well, because we're always bombarded with fearful things. Well, if you don't put yourself in those positions, they cannot bombard you with that negativity. You will not create your own reality based on those things that you believe, especially things that you believe so wholeheartedly you're not able to change them. Well, they can shift you in a direction you want to go, and it's your free will doing it because it's your choice, even if you don't admit it or are consciously aware of it. It is all about responsibility. Nobody can help you but you. If I'm giving you information that is helping you on your path, you guided yourself here. I mean, just look at it. How many people have said all the time about my channel how it's always being blocked, how YouTube makes this difficult? And yet some of you still manage to be here. I never plan my live shows. I never give people advance notice. I just hit record and start going. And yet people come here all the time. I'm actually amazed by this. There's never been a time when I made a live video that nobody was listening. So you're being drawn. So I want you to listen and trust yourself. And one of the first things you have to do is first forgive yourself and truly believe that, because you first have to heal from within, because everything that you experience from without all comes from within. Because if you're depressed, you're not going to go out. You're not going to create the next new amazing invention. You're not going to save the world, even if you say you want to. So you have to change yourself before you can change the world, because the world is a reflection of how you feel inside. So if you're always depressed, everything around you is going to be depressing. If you're always angry, everything around you is always going to make you mad. But if you are loving, everything around you will be love. You will manifest what you feel, not what you believe. Because beliefs can be changed. When you feel something in your heart and you feel truth, truth is truth whether you believe it or not. And that is why we have to be in different stages. That's all it is. Different levels. It takes each person a different speed of time. But if you listen to fear porn, like how I used to do back in the days, because we all started it with the Alex Jones and the Planet X and the Illuminati with Satanism and all these things. What does it do? It makes you, through your own free will, start to believe these things, and you manifest them, so it justifies your own version of your reality, which is your own truth. So stay away from those things. That's one of the biggest things that I've done in the past 2 years, maybe not even 2 years, the past year. I don't get into fights with YouTubers anymore. Even if I didn't cause the problem, and I never did. I always was trying to just be myself, and other people tried to take advantage of things, and I would try and retaliate instead of just forgiving and loving and moving on. And realizing what was it that I needed to learn from that and take responsibility. Because you cannot control what anybody else does. You can only control what you do. Which means if you want to sit there in denial, or if you want to mock something, the only person you are hurting is yourself. So why would you do that? Nobody can hurt you in the way you think. You are more powerful than you will ever believe. But if you believe a little bit more every day about yourself, to the point where your belief turns into a feeling and you trust your instincts and you go past the system of belief, you will change your world. Because the world tries to teach you that seeing is believing. Well, if that was true, then probably 99% of the universe wouldn't exist. There would be no sound. There would be no energy. Tell me the last time you saw an atom. Tell me the last time you saw oxygen. Tell me the last time you saw music, frequencies, vibration. So the world tries to teach you that, well, seeing is believing. Well, universally speaking, we see less than 1% of what is in the known universe. So is seeing really believing? Tell that to a magician when they play tricks in front of your eyes. You think you're seeing something, but it's not. That's why when you sing the song as a child, row, row, row your boat gently down the stream, the ending of that song is life is but a dream. Quote Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody. Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy? Caught in a landslide, no escape from reality. And listen to what they say. Open your eyes, look up to the sky, and see. You are whatever you make yourself. Like they say with food, you are what you eat. Well, you are how you feel. You want to get drunk every day? Then don't be surprised that your liver gives out. You want to smoke every day? Well, don't be surprised one day you have lung cancer. You want to eat too much? Don't be surprised you don't die from some kind of obesity problem. But we don't want to hear that because the world teaches you, oh, it's okay. It's all right. We'll take care of you. Just give us some of your hard-earned money, your fiat currency, and we'll give you things that won't cure you. But it'll make us rich because you'll need it for the rest of your life. And you will set your belief system to that, and you will get the very thing that you believe. So your free will can even damn you, and it's not what you want. Nobody wants that. And yet, look at all the negativity around us. It doesn't have to be, because let me tell you something. I don't remember in my entire lifetime walking out of my house to ever see somebody get shot, to see an explosion, to see these quote-unquote terrorists and all these bad people out in the world. We're force-fed information, so we stay at a certain vibrational level that keeps us angry, keeps us full of greed, it keeps us hurting one of another, it keeps us isolated, so there are people who will benefit and profit off of it. So the choice is, do you want to stay that way, or do you want to change it? And if you want to change it, then what is stopping you from making the changes necessary to improve your life? Because let me ask anybody that's been listening to my channel for multiple years, if you've been listening to my channel for multiple years, there is nobody here that can tell me that I am the same person that made videos 3, 4, 5 years ago, even 1 year ago. We change, we reach other levels and plateaus. And you can do it too, unless you convince yourself you can't. So if you say I can't, then you're saying to the universe, this is your truth, even if it's not what you want, because it's easier. And then you don't do anything. And then you blame the world. You blame your situation. You blame your family. You blame whatever. There are people that have handicaps that we could maybe never have to experience, and yet they do more than we do in a lifetime. So if you want to better your life, it's your responsibility. And the first thing you have to do is see from within. You have to forgive yourself for the things you've done. You have to stop being mean to people, even at times where it just seems simple, because you get in what you put out. And if you continually put out negativity and pain, well, that's what you're going to experience in your life. Even if you don't notice it right away, it is going to manifest somewhere in your body. Show me one person that does nothing but mean things all their life. Show me one person that's absolutely healthy and nothing wrong with them. There's always something. It's almost like somebody's twisting them from the inside, and instead of healing it, they scream out at the world. And that's why there's a famous saying that says, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And the world is whatever you want it to be. The problem is they teach you, if it's too good to be true, it usually is. Well, that's your choice to believe that or not. Because those of you who've been watching my channel know I've been through heartache and pain and situations and bad things happening left and right. I've had my oil burner be replaced. I had my radiators exploded one winter. We've had numerous times we have had to bring our animals to the emergency vets, spent thousands of dollars, and yet I still am here, still standing, still being positive. It's there to teach me things. It's your situations, your negative things were there to teach you. But why keep learning the same thing over and over again? Once you realize that negativity is there to keep you strong, to teach you how to be by yourself and not have to depend on others. Once you realize that you don't have to keep learning it, how ridiculous would it be if you had to learn for the rest of your life that 1 + 1 is 2? It would drive you crazy after a while. So go to the next level. If you're listening to this and it resonates with you, that means something brought you here to say, hello, McFly, it's time to fly. Why are you staying grounded when you could create your own wings? Why don't you do it? Why do you keep those crutches that hold you down and weigh you down? And then cry to the world that life is unfair. You're watching everybody else above you fly, and you're on the ground. Well, maybe it's because you chose to be, because you let fear or some kind of situation tell you you can't do something. That is up to you, which means you take the responsibility out of somebody else's hands and you put it in your own, and then you make it into a priority. Because if you want to stop smoking cigarettes, think to yourself, do you want to die of lung cancer? The reason that most people can't quit is because they don't smoke 1 or 2 packs of cigarettes and then die of lung cancer. It happens 30, 40, sometimes 50 years down the road. So we don't worry about those things until they happen. But if we know they're happening, that would be like sitting on a train track waiting for the train to come hit you. You stay there long enough, you will get what it is you went there for. This world is teaching us to be, woe is me. Be offended by every single little thing. In other words, keep away from everybody. How are we going to unify as one when the world is teaching you to hate and fear everyone? Because if somebody else thinks differently than somebody else, then there's something wrong with them. No, it is your expression, freedom of expression. You shouldn't hurt other people. You can, but you shouldn't. And that's maybe the true test. That you could literally, right this second, shut off your computer, shut off your cell phone, whatever you're watching this in, go and get a knife and murder 100 people if you wanted to. Please don't. But what's stopping you is your conscience, your karma, your ability to realize that even though you could easily do it, you choose not to because it's just not right. And you will always pay, whether it's this lifetime or 1,000,000 lifetimes from now, for your consequences. And those who laugh at it, they're the ones that are suffering. And they're the ones that are just going to repeat the same thing over and over again. So if you want to let go, start meditating. Start learning how to breathe. You want to learn how to focus? Take a deep breath in through your stomach. Listen to your heartbeat. Focus on the breath and just exhale. You want to forgive yourself? Truly forgive yourself for the things that you've done. And then don't do them anymore. Because then you're not being true. You could lie and say, oh, I forgive myself. But if you don't truly believe it, and you don't feel it, going from that belief to the feeling, well, then you're not really doing anything, are you? And Rabbi Tuckman says, wait, is that the wrong thing? Should I not hate those who think other than me? Well, if you give hate, you will get hate, and you will have things to hate. So if you want to have things to hate, then fill your life with hate. You will always manifest what you truly feel, not what you truly say. Because if people manifested what they said, then they would have everything that they want. There's a reason why you're not getting it, because lots of times we try and convince ourselves of the bullshit that we try and convince ourselves is what we really want, what we really believe. We want to snap our fingers and have $1 million fall from the sky and the perfect guy or girl to just fall into our laps. Well, if you're in your house all the time and you don't exercise and you don't eat right and you don't put yourself in a position to go out and meet somebody, whose fault is that? There are people that are going to be angry. There are going to be people that are cruel. There are going to be people that will put greed over love. Do you want that to be you? And if not, then don't surround yourself with it. Eliminate the negativity from your life. And learn from the inside how you can heal yourself and get whatever it is that you want, but do the effort it takes to achieve it. And what I say, if it doesn't resonate with you, that's fine. You're on your own path. If 1% of what I say tonight resonates with you, then take that 1% and congratulations, you've now grown 1% more. It doesn't always have to be every single thing I say. Everything I say works for me. Not everything I say is going to work for you. So take from it what will benefit you and ignore the things that don't. The problem is people spend so much time trying to focus on the negativity. Oh, you said something that I don't agree with. Well, instead of hating me for my belief or my feelings or my truth, and you realizing that it's okay to have that, don't spend negativity my way. Because I just now reject it. I used to absorb it and try and change it. You can't do that. You just reject it. It's like the saying, I'm rubber, you're glue. Whatever you say bounces off of me and sticks onto you. Why absorb somebody else's negativity by accepting it? It's again, realize to be your true self, because we all come from one. So when we hurt our fellow man or our fellow woman or our fellow animal or our fellow tree or our fellow rock or our fellow air or fellow water, whatever, we are actually hurting part of ourselves. Why do you think we are all pretty much sad? It doesn't have to be that way. But again, when you have negativity in your life, you're trying to learn something. Maybe one of the reasons why everybody's abandoned you is because you had to learn to become independent. Maybe the reason why as a child you were abused, because you had to learn to be a survivor. If you think of it in a better way, that negativity is not negativity. It is there as a tool to take you to a higher level. Because here's the beautiful thing about somebody that might have been abused as a child, even though that's not a beautiful thing. You're not being abused anymore. You're not a child anymore. So that part of you is in the past. It is already gone. Let it go. It is no longer serving you. So why hold on to it? What you were is not who you are. Who you are is not who you will be. So focus on the now. Focus on the moment. The past is gone. Why keep reliving it? If you were abused as a child, that is a bad thing. But if you're not being abused anymore, why hold on to the pain? Why hold on to the anger? Why hold on to the fear? Because maybe that was needed to get you to be the person that you are. Because maybe if you weren't abused as a child or abandoned as a child, maybe you would have turned into an evil prick that could have been the next murderer. But we don't see that because it happens later on in life. In other words, karma. Sometimes we have to suffer to learn to better ourselves. And if it makes us better, then we learned from it. So move on past it. When was the last time you went online to look up 1 + 1? You don't, because you already learned it. You don't sit there and think about 1 + 1 because that lesson has been learned. But yet every pain in your life or anything that has ever caused you misery or anger or hatred or jealousy or rage or fear, you focus on like it's happening all over again. And yet it is, because you're creating it. You're reliving it. So let it go. Forgive those who have wronged you, because you made a contract with them before you came to this existence, so you can learn something. And it's hurting you physically. So let it go. Why do you think if you drink too much, you throw up? It's because your body is getting out the toxins. Why do you think you cry when you're sad? It's because it's releasing the toxins. Why do you think you feel better when you talk about something that made you sad or angry? It's because you are getting out the things that you do not see. And because they teach you that seeing is believing, you think, or some people, or most people think, that's a load of crap. Only people that are hurting are themselves. So if you had a bad thing in your life, don't feel sorry for it. Embrace it. If it turned you into a person that loves animals, that wants to heal the world, that cares for more than themselves, then you're not the person that hurt you or abandoned you or tricked you or lied to you or stole from you. You have transcended that. And if they didn't do those things, who knows where you would be right now? Because let me ask you this, if you've ever dealt with an alcoholic, or you've ever been abused, if you've ever been abandoned, or bad things happened to you as a child, let's say you can go back into the past and take away that abuse and it never happened. Would you do it if you learned that you would grow up to be a murderer, or you would abuse animals, or you'd just be an overall prick? And the things that happened to you in your past brought you onto a path of enlightenment. Would you change it? Because here's the beautiful thing. You don't have to go back, but when you think about it to the point where it brings you pain and you feel the sadness and you feel like you're right back to where it was, well, here's the thing. Like the video about time, everything is happening all at once. So when you think about it and brings back that pain, you're actually experiencing it all over again. Why would you do that? If it was bad enough that it happened the first time, why relive it thousands upon thousands of times again? And again, once you realize you're doing that, because a lot of times this is subconscious because we have been conditioned to be feeling sorry for ourselves and have other people take care of us. Once you realize you're doing that because somebody else pointed out what you needed to hear, you can change it if you choose to. Or you can say this is full of crap and continue to feel that pain. Then obviously that's your hole. That is your drug. You're filling in a hole. You are God. You are a part of God. You are part of one. You are experiencing life through the eyes of the Creator in infinite ways. There's an infinite amount of views doing infinite amount of things. You will shift to each one depending on how you feel and what you resonate with. You just can't see it. There'll be many people that have shut this off. There'll be many people that will laugh and mock it. And that's fine. That is their own experience. You don't have to believe a word I say. You don't have to feel of anything I say. You don't have to resonate with anything I say. Or you could find something in here, and if a little bit of it helps improve your life, then it happened for a reason. Just don't take my word for gospel, because what manifests for me may not be for you. And that's okay. Just don't try and kill me or hurt me or attack me, because my point of view may be different than yours. Why would we want everybody thinking and doing and being the same thing, thinking the same way? What a crappy world that would be. So I'm going to end this video right now. Take responsibility for what you do. And what I would highly recommend, especially if you came in late on this video, when this uploads, listen to the whole thing. Not many people do that, and that's fine. Take from it what can help you, but be responsible for what you choose to do, and realize that every time you watch an Illuminati video, every time you watch Alex Jones's fear porn, every time you watch a video on asteroids or planets going to attack us, every time you hear about, oh, if you think a certain way, some devil or demon is going to come drag you to the depths of hell, you create that possibility. Do you want that? And if the answer is no, then stop putting that stuff in your consciousness. And that's the secret that they don't want you to know about. They want to bombard you with negativity to the point where it becomes part of your belief system, and they can manipulate it even though your free will dictates it. Once you unlearn what you've learned and realize, and you need realize to realize, that you have the power to change everything, you will. If you believe you can't, you won't. The choice is yours. So go make it. So considering it's 1 o'clock in the morning, I have about 28 people watching right now, which is not bad considering I do this spur of the moment, randomly. And somebody will get something good out of this. Which means this happened for a reason, and I was compelled to make it because of a feeling that I now trust. And I'm no longer going to respond to the person that just made. I'm just going to erase their comments and move them from the channel. So we're not going to even get to that anymore. So I want to wish you all well. Know that sometimes you're going to fall, but it's okay. Get back up again. It might hurt when you fall, but it's kind of silly to lay there crying about it. Get up, move on, do something with your life, better it. Don't use excuses anymore. Do everything in your power to get yourself out of any situation that you feel is holding you back. There's a reason for it, something you're not learning. So if you're not true to yourself and responsibilities for your choices and your decisions, then you are not going to learn, and you're not going to move forward, and you're going to spend your whole life learning that 1 + 1 is 2. It's a silly way to have a life, because then you'll come back and have to start all over again. Whatever you can take from this world that helps bring you to one step closer to enlightenment, learn from it. But stay away from the negativity unless you like that in your world. It's your choice. And I thank you for taking part of your day and part of your choice to listen to what I had to say. So thank you very much. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and spread the word. No longer be quiet. No longer be ashamed or embarrassed. Be proud that you want to help change this world and make maybe somebody else go from hate to love. Because just imagine if everybody turned from hate to love, what kind of world this would be. The longer it takes, that's up to us. So thanks for listening. Have a great night. And share this video.